Hello, good evening, this is Diecast Looney. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another episode of Vintage Matchbox Mondays, episode 38 of Vintage Matchbox Mondays. And this is going to be a little bit different, this week's video. It's going to be a little bit different as we're going to be basically looking at some of my favourite pieces from my collection. And I may make a challenge out of this video, but I'll explain more about that as I go along. I've only really got one piece to show this week that is, or one piece that's new. As the guy, like I said before in the previous video, the guy that I've been buying my vintage pieces off for about the last year now, unfortunately he is unwell at the minute and having to have radiotherapy and chemotherapy, and he did say on a Monday that he wouldn't be in. So I have mentioned this before. So I went in and purchased a few cars, or put some cars aside for this week's video, and I went to go and get them over the weekend, but unfortunately he wasn't there over the weekend either. So I haven't been able to get anything for this week's video. I had cars put aside for this week's video, but that's just the way it goes. It's fine, I will get them. I will show them next week with any luck. But anyway, let's get straight into it. Let's take a look at what I'm going to show first, and then let's get on with the main parts of the videos. Anyway, so here is the first piece. Now technically this is obviously a cup and not a car, but I had this for Father's Day, which I thought was really, really cool. So it is obviously a Matchbox super fast number 29 mini mug. So very, very cool. So this was from my young son. I did get some cars for Father's Day, but I'm going to show them at another time. But I just thought this was especially cool. And I know Danny from Danny's is it Coffee, Cars and More, Danny and Sam, if he was about at the moment. But unfortunately he is not too well. He would love this, as he always tends to show a cup in his videos. But anyway, so here's to you, Danny. Hope that you're doing okay. Little shout out to Danny from Danny's Coffees, Cars and More, or Danny and Sam. Sorry, always. So anyway, so that is a mug I got for Father's Day, and then obviously here is the appropriate car. So this is the car that is on the side of the mug. This is the number 29. So let's have a little look what it actually says. Matchbox Series number 29 Racing Mini. And that is the car. So now I've got the cup and the car. So I just thought that was really cool. So really happy to have them. So that's what I got for Father's Day. I'm going to put them to one side. And anyway, so like I said, because I couldn't get to go and get the cars that I've purchased, unfortunately, I did mention this in the previous video. It's going to be a bit up and downy with the Matchbox Mondays, but we're going to proceed on anyway. I will get to show what I've bought, hopefully next week. So what I thought I'd do is I'll show. Now I've got a lot in my collection. It's hard to pick favourites, and everything I've got has been shown at one time or another. So I just thought, why not make a bit of a challenge? I'm going to basically show cars with tow hitches. So they don't have to be Matchbox cars with tow hitches. So the first car I'm going to show is this awesome little Renault 5 in really, really nice, well actually in fact it's in mint condition. This was, when I got this, it was actually blistered. It had been blistered since the day it was made. So obviously I was the first person to open it, so that's why it's in this awesome condition. And as far as I'm aware of, this is an unusual, more unusual version, as it has the plain black unchromed wheels, red interior, and a silver base, as a lot of these came with black bases. But it is an awesome car, and it has a tow hitch. So if we put the camera down, I can get out a super fast caravan. I believe this is a super fast caravan, 1970. It's got super fast wheels, and we can clip it on. So there we go. So that is going to be my first piece I'm going to show. So if you want to have a go at doing this unofficial challenge, just show your cars with tow hitches. And they don't have to be vintage Matchbox. They can be vintage Matchbox, vintage Majorette, Auto World, anything that has a tow hitch. No numbers, just whatever you want to show. If you want to go, have a go. But anyway, so I'm going to crack on. So that's the first piece. That is the Renault 5. So we'll move that to one side. We'll put the Renault to the other side. Then the second piece we're going to show, I think we're going to go for the Maxi Taxi. And again, as I said before in previous videos when I was showing this, I had this again. It was blistered. I think this and the Renault came from the same person, the same seller, and these were from a shop that when it closed down, all the cars that were left went into storage up in a loft. And so obviously I did do an unboxing on this quite a while ago now, at least a good year ago, but it is in superb condition. So that is obviously the Maxi Taxi, or the Ford Capri with the Roller-matics. I think the Roller-matics should. There you go. This is based on the Hot Rocker, which I also have, but I'm not showing today. So there you go, 72 Maxi Taxi. This is a 73 copyright on this one, but that is the original casting. I think this particular one may be around about 1980 possibly. I'm just trying to look. As you can see, it says made in Hong Kong, so obviously it changed to Universal Toys, I believe. But it's pretty cool. So that is the Maxi Taxi, and obviously again it has the tow hitch, so we can miss. We can hitch it up. There we go. Bit of a wheelie. So that's the second piece. So very cool. So we'll make some room so we don't drop the cars. And the third piece, we're going to go for a piece that wasn't shown all that long ago, and I believe it is, so we'll look underneath, it is the trying to see what it's. I know it's a Ford I think it's a Ford flare side pickup, and this has got suspension. I think it's based on the F-150, I believe. I just can't really see. Is that the F-150 or F-100? I think it's the F-150, but anyway, very cool piece. Loads of suspension. And there you go. It's obviously saying it's got a 460 cubic inch in it. I suppose that's what it's supposed to mean. But this is a particularly one of my favourite pieces, or at least one of my favourite vintage pickups. But again, let's see if we can get this to sit on it. May not, because oh, there you go. No, it does. So pretty cool. Now, if you've got nothing to hitch up, you don't have to have a caravan. You can hitch anything you like. All I mainly want to see, if you decide to take part in this and show your cars that will tow, you just need to have a tow hitch. You don't have to have anything to tow. I'm just thought it'd be fun to throw a caravan in along the way. Next piece is going to be, let's have a little look, it is the Mercedes-Benz 280 CE. Is it CE? There you go. Rescue unit, should have suspension. Again, in absolutely awesome condition. Particularly cool. No tarnishing, that's always a good sign when they've got real nice clean white tops. So this has never been exposed to sun, and again we will chuck it on the tow hitch. There you go. I could have been a bit more less lazy. I've got quite a few caravans in my collection. I've got some quite nice ones, but that's the only one I decided to pull out. So that is the Mercedes-Benz rescue unit. Then we're going to take a look at the Porsche. Again, some of these are later ones. Now the last three are later ones. This is the Porsche Turbo, 1980 Turbo, I believe. So a little look. Porsche Super Fast, yeah, Porsche Turbo, Porsche 911 Turbo. And again, in really nice condition. Doors snap together nice. And again, I've got quite a few variations of this. I just like this blue variation. But funnily enough, I don't have the original variation, which is that sort of metallic-y brown, coppery brown colour. I have every other variation but that, and I will one day get it. But for now, these are cool. And again, very quickly, it's going to go on. There we go. A bit random seeing a Porsche 911 pulling a trailer this big, but still. That is Matchbox for you. And then this one's very similar coloured to actual fact, slightly darker. So this is another one. Obviously this is a Mercedes-Benz. There's a little look. So it is the Mercedes 450 SEL. And not in as tidy condition, but still in nice condition. has a nice steering wheel. It's not a solid lump like nowadays. That is one thing they did do better back in the days. They did do better interiors. Doesn't have suspension, and this is one I got from a flea market open air find. I think I paid £2 for it. It's quite cheap. It's got a few little flea bites, but it's still very cool, and obviously the trailer will sit on there quite nicely. So that is the Mercedes Taxi. Now the next one is going to be probably one of my favourite vintage piece in my collection. I'm just getting it out of its box, as I still have the box to it, so just bear with me as it is wrapped away. So obviously it is the Ford Cortina in this awesome, like a metallic moss green, and I really do. This is probably right up there. As I said earlier, I've got a lot of cars in my collection, like we all do, but this is probably in my top 10 out of my cars. This is definitely my favourite Matchbox, only because as a kid my dad had this exact car in a darker shade of green, so I have memories of being out and about in my dad's. This was a 1600 GT, I believe, so it was a fairly nippy car for back in the day, not particularly overly fast. As you can see, this one says, I believe it says Cortina 1600L, so this would be more of a base model, and I believe this is based on the Mark IV, not the Mark V, but it is a very, very cool piece. And I was after one of these and I searched for a long time, and these are fetching quite good money. But I actually had a red one of these as a kid, toy, but because it was not the same shade of green as my dad's, but because it's that shade of green, and it was my favourite toy car when I was a kid, was the Cortina. So pretty cool. So that is one of my favourite vintage Matchbox pieces, and like I said, I do have the box for it, so pretty cool. So that is the Ford Cortina, so we'll just put that to one side very briefly. And then the next piece, oh, I didn't do the whole, there we go. So there it is on the caravan, so pretty cool. And then the next, getting now towards the end, the video is going on for long enough, and this is another particular favourite of mine. This is, again, had this exact piece, not this piece, but the exact same piece as a kid. I'm just, again, I've got the box for it, I'm just trying to unwrap it, and it is the Matchbox Superfast Mercedes, no, it's not, it's a lie, BMW 3 litre CSL, which is this awesome looking piece. And again, this is probably right up there. And this is my favourite era of Matchbox. The late 70s is my favourite era. I like the late 70s and the early 80s as they were turning over to Macau. A lot of the purist Matchbox collectors will only collect Lesney. I don't care, I like Matchbox full stop, but this particular time period of the late 70s is probably my favourite. So there we go, awesome piece, and again has that awesome, to say awesome snap, it didn't want to shut, but it is a very cool piece. And this piece is also an error piece, as it has the bow, it's got like a bit of a twist in the rear sort of quarter panel area and that pillar. But like I said before, I think I said it's a Tyrone, this was done in the factory. As if it was done outside the factory, there'd be paint fractures, so it was bent before it got sprayed. So a bit of a slip on the quality control there, but that just adds character to it, as this one is unique. You will not find this car anywhere in the world, because it's got that unique little bend in the metal, and I think the door should, yeah, still opens and shuts. So that is a particularly cool piece. So that is the BMW. And again, now, there we go, look, hasn't got a tow hitch, so I've caught myself out there. I just assumed that it did, but it doesn't matter, it's still a cool piece. Now this last piece, I'm almost sure this has got a tow hitch, so just bear with me while I open it, as I didn't really prepare for this particularly, but we'll try and... So it is the Renault Matchbox Superfast Renault 17, and it doesn't have a tow hitch. Now this one came all the way from Australia, all the way from Tyrone, building the Ultimate Matchbox collection. Check him out, awesome guy, especially if you like Matchbox as much as I do. He is the Matchbox king, technically. He has so much in his collection, awesome collection. But this was very nicely given to me by Tyrone. And again, this is one of my prized pieces in my collection. I really do love this casting. But like I said, this doesn't have a tow hitch. So anyway, that is where I'm going to end the video. Bit random, I know. We'll probably end it with the Cortina, as that does have a tow hitch bow. Like I said, it's not an official challenge. You don't have to do this. I just thought, why not? But if you want to show, I'm gonna call the challenge "Will it tow?" So that'll be the challenge, "Will it tow?" challenge. If you want to have a go, show your castings that will tow. You don't have to have a caravan. But anyway, with that, please like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned for more vintage Matchbox Mondays episodes to come. I will have cars next week, and obviously stay tuned for Wednesday night Movie Car Mania and Friday night Customs. And with that, I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Thank you for watching.